Do you guys ever just look at a group of people and you're just exhausted?
Yeah, you just want to go to bed.
You're just over it. You're tired.
And if you're like, it would be great because women are perfect, like you're not mature enough for this conversation, please just skip this video. I do not want to read that bullshit.
Today we're going to be talking about female exhaustion, female fatigue. Yeah, I guess.
Yes. Today we have something different, and I want you to pay attention not just to what is being said, but to how it is being received, because that gap between content and reception is where the real lesson lives. And two women decided to actually engage with it honestly rather than dismiss it. That alone makes this video worth examining.
We came across this video on TikTok, and it's captioned, "I just look at women and I'm exhausted." At least that's the quote that they're using. It's got 64,000 likes on it, a lot of comments from both men and women. And it's about this general idea that men are just over putting in the amount of work that it takes to not only get with a woman, but to keep a woman. And he's talking about what these relationships look like once he's with a woman. We
also hear the word fatigue a lot now in our society, which just means like you're over it. You're tired of it.
Yeah.
You're tired of dealing with it. I think people talk about black fatigue a lot, dating fatigue.
Yep.
So this is about female fatigue.
And I guess we're going to see how we feel about it as two females. Let's see if we can agree with this guy.
They said, we're going to see if we can agree with this guy at all. Fair. No predetermined conclusion. No defensive posture. That's more intellectual honesty than most women show in this conversation. Now here is the thesis I want to build this video around. A false premise can support any conclusion. If your starting point is wrong, you can be logically perfect and still be completely incorrect. Keep that in mind as we go through this, because both the man in this video and the women reacting to him are working from premises that are partially true and partially false simultaneously.
Ain't that a man?
At all.
So there was a guy that made a video and the caption was, "I just look at women and I'm exhausted." Now he rambled quite a bit and some of the stuff that he said kind of came off like a jerk, but his overall beginning message, I think a lot of people didn't understand it, because he's not saying like doing work for a woman that you're dating is exhausting. It's this. And I would love for women for a second to stop being so team woman just for a second and think, what would it be like to be a man and love a woman? And if you're like, it would be great because women are perfect, like you're not mature enough for this conversation, please just skip this video. I do not want to read that bullshit. But honestly, like all the things that, you may have done out of anger or said, or the times maybe some of you got physical, or just all the shit that you may have put a dude through because you didn't know any better or whatever. Because not all of you are you guys can't keep running back to these excuses in the same way that every other man can't keep running to excuses to condone his foul-ass behavior.
Right there. That's the point everyone else missed. He's not saying relationships take too much work. He's saying the work doesn't produce the expected outcome. That's a completely different complaint. And his request, stop being team woman for 1 second and think what it's like to be a man who loves a woman, is not unreasonable. It's literally what therapists tell couples. Practice empathy. Step outside your own experience, but watch how far that empathy actually goes.
Okay, let's pause there for a second. The acknowledgement of dangerous, I think he's mentioning, reckless, insensitive female behavior. Do we think women have a problem with acknowledging that they can behave pretty badly within relationships too?
Yes.
Okay. Elaborate.
I hate to say the like women lack accountability thing. I know that is a something that the manosphere or the incel community says. But I do think both genders are putting extra blame on the other gender rather than themselves.
So there's like a pitting against each other?
Yes. And I think women have a hard time putting themselves in the other person's shoes. Like he said, like just for a second, don't be team women, and like giving grace to men. I completely agree with that. And I think we also see it online too when we see the comments about men, where it's just like women are just immediately like, dump him, leave him, be single. Having a boyfriend is embarrassing.
If he wanted to, he would. I support women's rights and women's wrongs.
You deserve better. You deserve princess treatment.
Hold men accountable. It's all men. Yeah, I think obviously it's a shared burden. Like, let's be logical. Men have their issues, women have their issues. Men can be dangerous and reckless in relationships, as can women. I think we are in this sort of like reformative period right now where we're talking like abundantly about men's wrongs and holding men accountable, and maybe women's wrongs can get swept into the rug a little bit in the current conversations that we're having. It does feel like if there's going to be a conversation about men and women right now, at least in the spaces that I've seen it is focusing on men taking accountability.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Listen to this. They admit it out loud on camera. Women lack accountability. That conversation gets avoided. And one of them even said she hates saying it because it sounds like something the manosphere says, but she said it anyway because it is true. That takes guts, respect where it's due. Now here is where the false premise enters the conversation.
It can be exhausting. And so when a guy gets to that stage, because I was at that stage for a while, it's because of previous things. It's because of previous dating experiences. And that's not even dating, it's relationships. And some of these men is previous marriage. It's kind of like this. Men are simple. Okay, I'll explain it in men's terms, and I'll use Call of Duty. Men know 25 kill streak gets me a tactical nuke. So sometimes being with some of y'all is like, I did that. Where's the reward? Where's the tactical nuke? There is none. And so like you solve a problem where you think that you've came to a conclusion that's going to overall better the relationship, and there's nothing there. Nothing changes.
This is the male brain. Input to output. Effort to reward. In Call of Duty, the rules are clear. 25 kills, tactical nuke. Done. And here is where it gets genuinely interesting. Because watch what happens when this analogy lands.
Okay, a lot of women are pissed about him using this Call of Duty analogy. It doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?
This is just how men talk. He's trying to be more analytical and relatable to men by using this analogy.
Yeah. I saw women in the comments like, how dare you compare being in a relationship with a woman to Call of Duty? Or like, how dare you? Why would you think of something so violent when talking about women? Why are you referencing a kill count as if that has anything to do with a relationship? Babe, it's an analogy.
Yeah.
It's an analogy. And there's
talk.
Yes, they're expecting, given a certain amount of efforts, to have a certain amount of reward, and that is not coming through in their relationships. So let's talk about that. Is that happening? How is it happening? I don't know that this happens for all relationships. It certainly doesn't happen in mine. But I could see there being a tendency or a vibe or a theme that for men, it is just expected for them to solve your problems, and it is just expected for them to show up, and that like there's nothing that you have to do in relation to that. A lot of the comments that he got on this video were women don't owe you anything. And that is true in the sense that the average woman that you're coming across on the street or having an interaction with, she doesn't owe you anything in relation to what you've given her or what you've done for her. However, in a relationship, which is, you know, conditional, although there may be a sense of unconditional love, there is something that is owed to the other person.
You do owe that person something.
Yeah, there's reciprocity in relationships.
One of them immediately defends him. It is an analogy. He is being analytical. He is trying to explain something in terms that make sense to him. The women attacking the analogy in the comments are doing something very specific. They are reacting to the framing rather than the content. They hear kill count and they hear violence. He means effort and expected return. This is the communication gap in real time, and it is not about intelligence. It is about operating systems. Men tend to process relationships through systems, inputs, outputs, expected returns, cause and effect. Women tend to process relationships through emotional states. How does this feel? What does this mean? What does this say about us? Neither operating system is wrong, but when they collide without translation, the man feels his logic is being dismissed. The woman feels the framing is dehumanizing, and both walk away from the conversation more frustrated than when they started. Here's where the contradiction shows up.
Just get it going. Yeah, I'll get it going. I feel like a key that opens a lot of locks is a master key, and you know, a lock that opens for any keys is lock. So, you know, do what you want with that.
I'd like to state, I've been celibate for a year, just before I start this, but with the lock and key statement that was made earlier, I think this is a mindset that men hold. To a lot of men, body count does matter, but I'm also I think a lot of women aren't also wanting a lot of the men that are on the market. The same way we talk about a lock and a key, I personally don't want a lollipop that everyone has put in their mouth. So it's like, you can say, oh, you know, it's different for men and women, but an extremely lustful man who has slept with multiple people, I think will continue that lustful behavior. Also, if I lie to you and tell you my body count is something that it's not, you have no way to prove that I'm not like telling the truth. So at the end of the day, I think it's truly a mental thing.
Now watch this. Same male logic, different analogy. Key equals man, lock equals woman. A key that opens many locks. Valuable, master key. A lock that opens for any key. Worthless, shitty lock. Now hear her voice.
I feel like a key that opens a lot of locks is a
The moment he says it, frustration, discomfort. She is already preparing her rebuttal before he finishes. Now listen to her response.
Also, if I lie to you and tell you my body count is something that it's not, you have no way to prove that I'm not like telling the truth. So at the end of the day, I think it's truly a mental thing.
Not a logical counter-argument, not data, not evidence. Her celibacy, her feelings, a threat to the lie about her body count. That's the difference. The first two women defended the Call of Duty analogy because it didn't threaten their self-image. The second woman attacked the lock and key analogy because it did. Same male logic, two completely different responses. That's not a debate. That's female nature on display.
Just destined to fail, even though that you as a person know, like, these are ways that we can solve this shit. Like, I thought we were supposed to be together. And then you have to watch it tank because of unresolved issues. And then it's funny because sometimes you'll talk to these women later and they're completely different. Like they're exactly what they needed to be 5 years later, but then it screws you up and then you have to pick up the pieces and then stop drinking so much and get back into the gym because your physique's shit now and all this stuff or whatever it may be. It becomes exhausting.
This is the moment that exposes where his real exhaustion comes from. And the women identify it clearly. Why couldn't she do it for me? That is not female fatigue. That is grief. That is the specific pain of watching someone become who you needed them to be for someone else. And here is where both operating systems fail simultaneously. His, he assumes she fixed herself. Hers, they assume he simply was not the right person. Both conclusions are partially true. Neither is complete. The fuller truth is that people change in response to specific dynamics, not in response to effort alone. She did not become who he needed because their dynamic did not create the conditions for that change. Someone else's dynamic did. That is not a judgment on either of them. That is just how human beings actually work.
Why are you not meeting those women? Why are you not getting into long-term relationships with those women? At some point, and I don't know at what point this becomes the case, but at some point you become the common denominator, not women. Yep. So it's very interesting to like take this whole class of women, 50% of the population, and say they're the problem when you are running into the same issue over and over and over again. The mind can attribute that to women, or it can attribute that to maybe your discernment and the choices that you're making in dating women. Does that make sense? Because why are we not analyzing how you're ending up with the same woman over and over?
And it's like, what actions do you keep doing? And like, say like you are doing a lot of things and you're not getting it reciprocated back to you. Like is it the type of woman that you're choosing? Because I don't think most human beings are like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we look at women who are complaining about men and we tell them you're just choosing the wrong man. You're actually the common denominator, it's not men. So I might look back at you, fella, and say you might be choosing the wrong women or going after women for the wrong reasons, and that's why you're landing in the same boat. Because I know women who don't act like this, who are single, who are waiting around in this hellscape that is current dating for somebody like this.
Now here is where the women make their strongest point, and I want men watching this to genuinely sit with it rather than dismiss it defensively. If you keep ending up in the same dynamic, at some point, you become the common denominator, not because women are good and you are bad, not because you are the problem and women are innocent, but because your selection process, your attraction patterns, and the circumstances under which you meet women are producing consistent results. And consistent results in any system tell you something about the system. This is is the false premise on their side. They frame this as a selection problem. You are choosing the wrong women, but that conclusion skips a step. Before the selection question comes the attraction question. And the attraction question is where the data gets uncomfortable for everyone. Men are largely attracted to women who display certain qualities that are visible early. Appearance, energy, confidence, social presence. The qualities that predict long-term compatibility, consistency, emotional stability, genuine warmth, accountability are largely invisible in the early stages of attraction. They only reveal themselves over time and under pressure. So men are not simply choosing wrong. They are working with incomplete information in an environment where the qualities that attract and the qualities that sustain are not the same qualities and do not become visible at the same time. That is not stupidity. That is a structural problem with how human attraction works.
Like, I think women are like hate on men a lot, but like I do think most just want a boyfriend.
Yes.
Yeah. And like, I think also, like, unfortunately, attractive men make women fold in the same way that attractive women make men fold. Like, if you're attracted to someone,
sometimes,
you don't hate men that much.
Yeah.
And there it is, the most honest moment in the whole video. Women do not hate men as much as they say. The right person changes everything. The same women who scream, "Men are trash," will fold instantly for the right jawline. That's not empowerment. That's biology with a filter. And they admitted it. So here's where we land. Men are exhausted, not because they hate women, because they're tired of a game where the rules change depending on her mood, the target moves depending on her friends, and the reward for doing everything right is nothing. The two women in this video, they tried. They really did. They defended the Call of Duty analogy. They admitted women lack accountability. They admitted women's wrongs get ignored. But at the end of the day, they still told him to keep trying. Don't give up. The right person is out there. That's not a solution. That's a deflection. Men aren't giving up. They're opting out. There's a difference. Giving up equals defeat. Opting out equals strategic retreat from a rigged game. And until women start offering something worth coming back for, the exhaustion will continue. Listen to all, follow none.
Management, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.